Greetings and welcome to my Wednesday ramblings. This is the time each week when I take a few minutes to look at the next Sunday's message and to follow up some of the ideas that have risen in previous weeks. The message at this time is the new ways of God. It's been looking at the beginning of Mark's Gospel, and especially at the areas where people are being called to have faith in Jesus and in his message, but also in his presence amongst them. And we see that this is a very challenging thing for some of them, and we have seen in recent weeks where people have been challenged for their lack of faith. This weekend, the Gospel passage tells us of Jesus sending out his 12 disciples to begin preaching the good news to the community, to take the first step in what it means to be missionaries to all the world. We see Jesus sending them out in pairs. One friend of mine cynically made the comment and said he probably sent them in pairs to make sure they could work with each other before they tried to work with other people. I suppose in a sense there is a truth in that, because we don't do gospel messaging, gospel evangelizing by ourselves. As Paul reminds us in our second reading this weekend, the letter to the Ephesians, God has chosen us to do the work that has been set before us, to be witnesses of the gospel. And even though we might be reluctant, as we hear in our first reading the prophet Amos saying, I was a shepherd of sycamores, I'm not part of the professional prophets, we are called to be witnesses in the world. We're called to have that faith that what God is asking of us is not a step too far, a road too challenging, but rather it's an invitation to know and to witness to how God works within us, how God loves us in our relationships with one another. So as the disciples set out on the journey, in Mark's Gospel we're told that they're not to take anything with them. It's more important that they go as vulnerable people, people who trust, have faith in God's plan for them. So perhaps we might look towards that. What is God's new way for me? How do I respond to his invitation to step out in faith and know that I'm going to be called to be a disciple? I invite you to join me this weekend in our Mass or on the podcast for the message, to hear the whole of the message for this week, and to join us, if you can, online at our YouTube or Facebook sites. Have a great week. Look forward to catching up with you next time, and God bless you.